So how long has it been sitting here?
It's been there at least 20 years.
Okay. And I guess being undercover, that's a good thing. It hasn't got any water in the engine or anything.
Well, it shouldn't have, but so that's where it's been.
Yep. So how much do you want for it? I noticed you said offers on the ad. You got a price in mind?
I was thinking around the $200 mark.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. 200 cash, as is. Sounds good. So I'll try and get it going and drive it on the trailer. If I can't start it, then I'll just have to winch it on. Do you mind if I work on it here for a few hours? Okay. Alright, thank you. Well, I've bought myself a Farmall tractor, $200, so just got to try and get it going now. Doesn't look too bad really. The tyres need a bit of air, and this tyre here's pretty buggered, cracking all around it. It's still holding air though by the look of it, so I'll see if I can get the engine running and get it out of here. So that's the radiator in there. Still got water in there, that's a good sign. That cap's seen better days. Sits on there obviously. Fuel tank's bone dry. McCormick Farmall Super A. Must be the luxury model with the foam on the seat. So apparently the battery goes in here in that gap, and it needs a battery to run, so I'll put a battery in there first. Looks like you just pull the speed gauge as the starter motor, so nothing at all. There's obviously something not contacting there. See, there's a crank handle, so I'll see if it turns over first of all anyway. Handle just pushes that button down, and it seems to be working okay. But all those connections look quite rusty, so I think first thing I'll do is take all those off and give them a clean up. Alright, all those terminals were quite dirty and corroded, so I've cleaned those up and put some contact grease on them, so hopefully that'll do it. So we'll see if it's going to start. Alright, it's cranking okay, so we know the engine is alright. Well, nothing seriously wrong with it anyway, so there's no fuel in it. I can see that bowl is empty, so I'll take that off. It looks like it's got a bit of crap in there anyway, so I'll take that off and clean it out and put some fuel in it and see what happens. The seal for the fuel bowl is obviously no good. It's just pouring fuel straight out of there, so I'll go and get one of those and try again. I've found a seal which should work, so I'll put that back on, tighten it up and see if it holds fuel. Because the seal is so much thicker than the old one, I'll have to try and wind this back a bit, but you can see it's quite rusty, so it's not going to back off much. So I'll give it a quick blast with the wire brush and see if I can get it back a bit further. You can see there's thread on there, but it's just too rusty to wind onto. Slightly better. Yeah, it's moving back a wee bit now, so that should give it a bit more room. This is the clamp to hold the fuel bowl on, by the way. It hasn't been moved for years by the looks of it, so that's all seized up. Okay, so I'll wind that in a bit just to put a bit of compression on that seal. Hopefully that'll hold fuel now. Yep, seems to be holding fuel, no leaks. Outrun, that says, so I'll pull that out. Give it a few revs. Out of gear. We'll see what happens. Well, that's promising. We've got a pop. I wonder if that looks like the choke, so I'll pull that out. runs. A little bit smoky, but you got to expect that, I suppose. 70-year-old tractor. Sweet. Now that I know it runs, I'll change the oil and the oil filter, and we'll take it for a blast, see if it still moves. It seems to rock back and forward a bit, so I think I don't think anything's seized up there, so. You can see that's pretty gunky on the drain plug there. It's quite gritty and grey. It may even have a magnet on there. That definitely needed changing. Yeah, that's the old oil. You can see it's pretty black and a wee bit of grit in there, but no bits of metal or anything, which is a good thing. Not too bad actually for something that's been sitting there for 20 years or so. So that's good. Before I try and move it, I'll put a bit of air in those tyres. They're looking pretty deflated. Alright, seeing all that oil leaking around the back end makes me wonder if there's anything left in the diff and gearbox, so I'm going to try and get this little plug out and poke a bit of wire in there and just see if there is any oil left, because I don't want to really move it without making sure there's some oil in there. So get that out of there. Also it's like covered with dust and grit, so I'm going to clean the area before I take the plug out, so otherwise it'll all fall in there and that wouldn't be too good. So I'll just clean around this plug a wee bit. That looks a bit better. I'm pretty sure that's where you check it, because I've had a good look around and I can't see any other level holes or dipsticks, so I'd say that's the one there. Looks like just a 1/2 inch socket hole. Yep, she's gone. That moved. Sweet. So as you can see, when I'm loosening that plug, there's a whole lot more dirt coming out of there, so I'll just scrape that away. that looks pretty clean now, so safely take that out of there. Alright. There's no moisture on that plug, so that's a good sign. Now I'll find a bit of wire and put in there. I'll see if there's any oil in there. Oh yeah, there's plenty there. Yeah, it's a wee bit rusty, that oil, so as soon as I get it home I'll flush it out and replace that oil, because that obviously hasn't been done for many years by the look of it. The owner here said he's never actually changed the gearbox oil, so potentially it could have been in there for 30 years or so, that oil. But that'll be good enough to get me up on the trailer and home, as long as I know it's got some oil in there going around the gears. It's got a lot of grease nipples on it, so I'll give those a squirt. Alright, so that's the oil changed, oil and filter changed. It's got radiator fluid. I'll flush that out and change it when I get home. We've greased everything, pumped the tyres up, and check the gearbox oil. There's plenty in there, so just going to go around and give all the moving parts a bit of a squirt of oil, so just because I can. So everything looks pretty dry, so just a wee bit of oil there will help. Give the seals a bit of oil, so it hasn't been used for years, so it can't hurt just to oil those seals up a little bit. I'll check that steering box oil when I get home. I see that's been weeping out as well, that seal in there. It's obviously gone. Alright, I think that's all ready to go now, so I'll see if I can start it again and back it out and put it on the trailer.